Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of The Three View. Today, we are joined by Wisconsin Woodsmen head coach Jon Vaillancourt. How's it going today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we'll kind of hop right on into things. So last year was your first season as head coach with the Woodsmen. Kind of reflect on last season for us and tell us what your biggest takeaway was.
Yeah, I thought as a first year program, my biggest focus was establishing a culture early on, especially in a new community. So, establishing a culture of excellence, being a premier player development model, getting that kind of in place for us, and obviously growing the game of hockey in the Coulee region. Those were three focal points for me coming into this program that I thought we needed to establish in day one.
Hmm.
And I thought we did a really nice job doing it. We had a great job of veteran players that came in from the old club that I thought did a great job buying into that culture, that identity. Then we had some really great young players that established themselves, and obviously four of them got tendered in North American League, one made it through main camp.
Hmm.
So just when you have exceptional young men, like high character individuals, I think it's not an easy process, but I was really excited to see that. I thought we were able to establish a really good culture there, and obviously our ultimate goal is to develop players move on to college hockey. So for this season, is trying to grow on what we've established last year,
Hmm.
especially with a lot of new faces, continue with that culture, continue with that identity, and then again, like just being a premier player development model, and continue to grow the game locally.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have announced some signings, new staff addition, things like that on social media. Talk about the addition of Weston Gerke and what he adds to your program, knowing that he was a former NA3 player himself.
Yeah, I think it's always wonderful when you have, especially local talent for us. He's from West Salem originally. So it was a little late in the process when we talked to him about it, but he's excited, he's motivated, wants to get into coaching. For myself, I think it's great to have, with Oak Moses, associate head coach this year, the experience he has for our players, that leadership role that he fills, and then Weston Gerke, a young player who's playing the league, can
Hmm.
have that experience for new players coming in. Had was on a really successful program, obviously, and had that success to kind of understands the process. I think it's just a great addition to our staff, great for our goaltenders.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, with myself, obviously my background is in player development with those two and our main staff, and then we have three coaches in our development staff. They should be mentioned as well. The Bryce Lampman, who was a former NHL first round draft pick, Uriah Hayes, Justin Kindle. Uriah Hayes obviously was a first round draft pick. Justin Kindle played Division One. So the three
Hmm.
of us, the six individuals that really work with our players throughout the years, like our three development coaches and obviously our three main coaches. And I think that's just going to give our players the best chance possible to grow in this game, develop, and have success.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys just wrapped up your main camp that was held on the college campus at St. Mary's. Talk about that experience. That's a unique experience that not many organizations have, getting their players onto a college campus.
Yeah, I think it's great exposure for young men to kind of see first and foremost like the environment,
Hmm.
get to see the locker room, the facilities, get to be in front of obviously college coaches. We have some other colleges come out as well to look at our players.
Hmm.
So getting early access and early exposure to our players, I think, is important for them to have that experience. I mean, ultimately, our program's main goals for players to establish themselves and move on to college hockey, either directly through us or through the North American League. So I think for them to get that opportunity to kind of be in a college campus, it's a little bit more excitement. They get to kind of see what that's like, and
Hmm.
obviously get them early exposure to those programs. Hopefully, that helps set them up in a better pathway toward their ultimate goal.
Yeah. And you yourself played NCAA hockey at Framingham State. How do you think your experience playing at the Division III level can translate over into helping these players achieve their goals of moving on?
I think it's extremely beneficial when you've had coaches that have kind of gone through the process. Obviously, for myself, it was out east, so I'm a Midwestern Wisconsinite who went to school out, 20-25 minutes from Boston.
Hmm.
So having that experience, I think is good, especially for some of our players who commit to schools out east. But obviously, I want to kind of use my experience, whether it's that or my experience, in the East Coast League for my time there, um, to help our players prepare them for those
Hmm.
challenges. So at the end of the day, like our job as a staff is to educate, develop, and mentor these young men for them to have success.
Hmm.
So I don't really like to use myself as an example a ton for guys,
Hmm.
but I do think it helps having that experience where you can share it with them and those challenges. So they're better prepared for those adversity moments when they face them.
Yeah, definitely. And when we're looking at the statistics from last year, you guys had a very successful power plays, fourth overall in the league. How do you think that contributed to your success? And, what plans do you have to replicate that with, you had players moving on last year. So how are you going to, kind
Sure.
of bring that back this year?
Yeah, I was actually surprised when you asked me that because I didn't even realize it was fourth in the league. I didn't think it was very good. We changed it halfway through the year.
Hmm.
Um, so when it comes down, like you give players a basic structure and then you want to give them the creativity and the freedom within that structure
Hmm.
for their success. So we end up changing our power play probably midway or halfway through this season.
Hmm.
What I was asking them to do just didn't kind of fit, I thought, the personalities we had. So we changed our power play, gave them basic structure, some freedom, some creativity, and I thought they did a great job with it. So it'll be no different this year. Obviously, we had some great players in our power play last year that contributed a ton to that success. But this year, we got a lot of new faces, so we'll give them the same thing: a structure, some creativity, um, and then obviously our philosophy and identity on the power play, and let them kind of go with it. And I think
Hmm.
as long as we have guys that believe in that message, and I'm not too worried about it, we'll have a lot of success again this year.
And you touched on that you're bringing in a lot of new faces to the Woodsmen this year. Talk about some of the players that you're excited that will be joining your organization.
Yeah, well, obviously, I think it's great. Like we have Kaden McDonald, Pearson Zitto, Tyler Osborne, Johnny Thrasher, Steve Kelly from last year's group. So those guys are returning. It's
Hmm.
nice to have 5 or 6 guys that can return that obviously carry over your culture and your identity.
Right.
They understand our philosophy already as a program, as a coaching staff. But yeah, I mean, from Minnesota, Colton Holzer played lacrosse and obviously as the captain there. He finished last year with us. He'll be a great addition on the back end as we lost a lot of defensemen
Hmm.
through advancement. Josh Campenden, Hermantown, who will be a great addition for us. Obviously, his older brother played for us briefly last year.
Hmm.
He's starting in with Anchorage right now in their training camps. So we're excited for him. We traded over for Justin Funk from Peoria. I think he brings identity and veteran experience that would be beneficial through us through the middle. And then, yeah, I mean, from Wisconsin, Vincent Green, a first round draft pick, he'll be a great addition. Lynn Jask, who played Notre Dame Academy, was a starting goaltender for them. So both those two from Wisconsin. Then Brandon Slazer from Michigan, Owen Alliser from Michigan, just to name a few. I think those are players we have high expectations for.
Hmm.
We did a lot of we're pretty extensive in our recruiting process as far as like making sure that the players have the culture and the family background first and foremost, and then like the talent and skill that are going to come to our program and be successful. So yeah, we expect big things from those players. Hopefully that's the next crop of players for us to move on to North American League as well. But I think like with the veteran experience we have coming back, you know, 6 or so players and the young players that we have coming in, we end up finding some young players that already have a little bit of junior experience in some other leagues outside the NA3. So
Hmm.
I think we have a really nice group of players coming in to kind of lift our program, hopefully to the next level.
Awesome. That's super exciting. And then as we kind of look forward to this year, your season begins on the 13th. What are you most excited for with this upcoming group?
I think every group is a different challenge.
Hmm.
I'm just really excited with a new young group to see kind of our veteran players kind of make that next step. Now, ultimately, our goal as a program is for players to go to commit to college hockey,
Hmm.
whether it's through us directly or through North American League. So that's going to be first and foremost is our strategy and our philosophy for our players. I
Hmm.
think you do that by establishing a premier development model, which we built last year and we've enhanced this year for our players. So I think as long as we're true to our true philosophy as a program, as a staff, we'll continue to grow as a program and have success. We were happy with the success we had in year one last year, but this year, ultimately, we want to be able to win our division and chase Fraser Cup championship. So I don't think that's outside the means of our ability.
Hmm.
So for our players, ultimately, when they come in, their goal is to develop, grow, and advance. And that's our goal for them as a program as well. But I think if
Hmm.
you're true to your philosophy of developing players, success on the ice as a program will come organically.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for hopping on this call today and, good luck this year.
Thank you very much.